The US has reportedly started airlifting embassy staff out of Haiti after dozens of heavily armed gang fighters tried to seize the political quarter of its capital, Port-au-Prince.
아이티에서 수십 명의 중무장한 갱단들이 수도 포르토프랭스 내에 정치지구 장악을 시도하자 미국이 현지 대사관 직원들을 탈출시키기 위한 공수작전을 개시한 것으로 알려졌습니다. Tell us more.
This is an ongoing situation. It started on February the 29th when these gangs started their attempt to topple the government.
I see.
And it's reached this climax where the US have basically gone in. They've sent the Marines in to reinforce embassy security, but also to evacuate non-essential staff. And this was all done in the middle of the night by helicopter because they wanted to make sure, there was no attack, that they were safe.
Yeah.
The German foreign ministry has said that its ambassador has gone along with other EU representatives. They left for the Dominican Republic on Sunday. The Prime Minister of Haiti was out of the country at the time, and he's now stranded in Puerto Rico. And one US official has said, well, his government could fall at any time. It's a very precarious situation, and especially with things intensifying downtown in Port-au-Prince over the weekend. We're seeing leaders coming together in the region to discuss what's going to happen, but certainly there's no solution at present, and it looks like this could continue for a while, and certainly the government may well topple.
Exactly. Other embassies in Haiti as well are pulling out or closing and taking the necessary measures. When we say 어디 주재 대사관, in English, it's the something embassy in somewhere. Right?
Yes.
So it could be the US embassy in Haiti in this case. In English, you can say Haiti, but the original word or the original pronunciation is, of course, Haiti.
Yes.
So both are correct.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's going to be depend on who you're talking to. I think here on Morning Special we tend to go with the original pronunciation when talking about Haiti.
그렇죠. 우리가 이제 IT라고 하는 게 그 원어에 가깝게 발음을 하는 거고요. 영어식으로는 이제 Haiti라고 많이들 합니다. 자, 첫 번째 표현이 바로 이 공수작전을 펼치는 건데요. To airlift.
Yes, well, you can give someone a lift, meaning you give them a ride, but an airlift is more serious. An airlift is when you're getting someone or something out of somewhere by helicopter or plane, by any kind of aircraft. So it's an evacuation, basically. And so in this case, we had these diplomatic personnel being taken by helicopter from the embassy and out of Haiti.
And it's one word, isn't it?
Yes, there's no hyphen, just airlift.
네, airlift. The US has started airlifting embassy staff라고 했는데요. 말 그대로 하늘로 올리고 있는 이라는 뜻이 있기 때문에 공수작전을 펼치고 있다라는 뜻이 되겠고 lift라는 게 들어올리다 라는 뜻입니다. 영국에서는 lift 하면은 elevator라는 뜻이죠.
Yeah, it can mean elevator or it can mean to get a ride.
Of course. 자, 그 다음에 seizing 볼까요?
Well, I mean, the one thing to remember it is always to think of Robin Williams, to think of Dead Poets Society, because in that movie he says, Carpe diem, seize the day, meaning grasp the day, take hold of it. And that's what seize means. It's taking something, but suggesting you're doing it in a strong way, possibly even with force or with violence. So, for example, the police will seize the possessions of criminals they arrest. They will take them into custody so they can look at them and inspect them. In this case, we're having gangs seizing buildings, meaning taking over these buildings with force.
네, seizing이라는 게 이제 장악하다 이 뜻이 있습니다. 그래서 carpe diem, seize the day가 하루를 장악해라 이렇게 직역을 할 수 있을 것 같아요. 물론 이제 하루를 즐겨라 이렇게 또 의역이 되기도 하고.
Sure, yes, it's a much more pleasant meaning when we have it in that context.
네, 그렇습니다. 자, 그럼 다시 한번 제가 헤드라인 읽어볼게요. The US has reportedly started airlifting embassy staff out of Haiti after dozens of heavily armed gang fighters tried to seize the political quarter of its capital, Port-au-Prince. Let's move on to the next headline.
Oppenheimer, a biopic about the father of the atomic bomb, has triumphed at this year's Oscars, taking home 7 awards, including Best Picture, Best Actor, and Best Director.
올해 아카데미 시상식에서 일명 원자폭탄의 아버지를 다룬 전기 영화 오펜하이머가 작품상, 남우주연상, 감독상 등 7개 부문을 수상하는 큰 성공을 거뒀습니다.
I think we all knew it was a dead cert. I think everybody was expecting it to win, so no big surprise. But
Right.
the fact that it has won so many is a big deal. It's the highest grossing Best Picture winner since Lord of the Rings Return of the King, and that was 20 years ago. It's also the first film to win Best Picture, Best Actor, and Best Supporting Actor since Ben-Hur.
Really?
Back in 1960.
Oh, wow.
A very big deal. It's also a very big deal for Cillian Murphy,
Yeah.
who won the Best Actor because he's the first ever Irish-born winner
Is that
of Best
right?
Actor. This is really, really big. It's also big for Robert Downey Jr., who's won his first Oscar. He was nominated twice before, once for Chaplin, directed by Richard Attenborough, which was another biopic about Charlie Chaplin,
Yeah.
and also for Tropic Thunder, which was definitely not a biopic. And then Nolan, he's been nominated for Dunkirk, but this was him winning for the very first time for Best Director. And I have to give a shout out to Emma Stone, because Emma Stone took home Best Actress for
Yep.
Poor Things, and that's her second Oscar. She won for La La Land, and now she's won
Right.
again. Barbie, because we talked about Barbenheimer last year, Barbie took home Best Original Song.
Okay.
Billie Eilish's song, What Was I Made For, took that home, but didn't get anything else.
Yeah,
Though-
it was nominated in 8 categories.
However, it wasn't nominated for Best Director and Best Actress, and that was a big deal. People were talking about it. In
Yeah.
fact, they were joking about it during the Oscar ceremony. However, I will say Barbie stole the show
Yeah.
if you watched some clips from the ceremony, because Ryan Gosling performed I'm Ken.
Oh, really?
And he did it with such gusto. He was
Yeah.
dressed all in pink.
Yep.
He was, singing with Margot Robbie, doing fantastic dance moves on the dance floor. It was brilliant to watch.
If I'm not wrong, I think Ryan Gosling has 2 daughters. And I think he said in an interview when he was offered the part, he said yes straight away. And he
Sure.
said, I'm going to do this for my girls.
And he was brilliant in it. If you haven't seen the film, he is very, very funny.
Yeah.
And he was very funny at the Oscars last night.
Absolutely. 자, 오펜하이머가 굉장히 많은 상을 수상했는데요. 그 외에도 이제 여우주연상에는 에마 스톤 그리고 바비가 Best Original Song 상을 또 받기도 했습니다. 자, 전기 영화를 영어로 뭐라고 하죠?
It's not an electric film, it's a biopic. Now, we have the word biography, which means a book that's written about a real person. We have autobiography, which is a book written about a real person by that person themselves,
Yeah.
writing about themselves. And a biopic is about a film about a person. There are some differences in pronunciation. How do you say it, Sue?
I don't know actually.
'Cause-
Because I know, sorry,
Yes.
yeah, go ahead.
Some people say biopic, that's my personal preference. I've also heard biopic.
Yeah, I think I go with biopic.
Yes.
But sometimes I get confused too. So-
I understand and I appreciate, because of biography, I think that's why I automatically think of biopic, but you can say biopic. Both are acceptable.
그래요. 발음이 2가지가 다 가능하고 전기 영화라는 뜻입니다. 자, 그다음에 상을 받다, 수상하다, to take home an award.
Yeah, in this case, in this context, to take home an award means you win it. You can also just take home your homework or take
Yeah.
home your lunchbox or take home your water bottle. But here, when we using it in the context of some kind of ceremony, of some kind of competition, that means you got the prize.
네, take home an award. 이게 상을 이제 받다, 수상하다, 수령하다라는 뜻입니다. Here's the headline again. Oppenheimer, a biopic about the father of the atomic bomb, has triumphed at this year's Oscars, taking home 7 awards, including Best Picture, Best Actor, and Best Director. Now let's move on to the final headline.
About 6 months' worth of rain has swept across the UAE, causing localized flooding and hail in parts of the country, leading to cancelled events, diverted flights, and closed wadis and beaches.
아랍에미레이트 전역에 약 6개월치의 비가 한꺼번에 쏟아지면서 곳곳이 국지성 홍수와 우박 피해를 입었습니다. 이로 인해 행사가 취소되고 항공편이 결항됐으며 하천과 해변이 폐쇄됐습니다. Okay.
There was a lot of
A
rain.
lot of rain, yeah.
If we look at the UAE's average rainfall, it's less than 100 millimeters a year. The National Center of Meteorology in the UAE said on Sunday that in Dubai they had almost 60 millimeters of rain, and in Khatam al-Shakla in Abu Dhabi, they had the highest recorded in the country of 78 millimeters. We're talking pretty much almost a year's worth of rain
Yeah.
in some areas and certainly 6 months worth in others. This big storm started on Friday evening. It was mainly in Abu Dhabi. It spread to other areas in the UAE, and we saw this localized flooding. So events were cancelled, flights were diverted, certain areas were shut down, certain roads were partially flooded. So the authorities had to put an emergency plan in place to mitigate the effects of this storm. And, it's actually 8 years ago to the day that a powerful storm wreaked havoc in parts of the UAE. It's on the anniversary, it's happened again.
I guess this time of year is sort of a rainy time, but in its extreme this time around.
Well, I think we're seeing it all over the world. These extreme weather events are getting more and more frequent.
네, 여러 가지 노력을 기울여서 mitigate the effects. 지금 이런 폭우의 그런 악영향을 좀 줄이기 위한 여러 가지 노력이 기울여지고 있습니다. 자, 첫 번째 표현은 localized flooding입니다.
Yeah, if something is localized, it's going to be in one area or
Yeah.
in one particular set of areas,
Right.
in one location, as it were, in that local area. So, for example, when I was growing up, localized news was very important in our family. We didn't just want to hear about what was happening in London. We wanted to know the news for our town, like what new shop is opening, who's the new mayor, what roads are closing. That's our localized news.
지역 뉴스라는 뜻으로 localized news라고 할 수도 있고요. 그다음에 그 medicine에 있어서는 국소 마취,
Yes.
local anesthesia.
Exactly. So, for example, when I've gone to the dentist to have a wisdom tooth out, I didn't have a general anesthetic. I had a local anesthetic.
Right.
I had a big needle in my mouth, but
Yeah.
I didn't feel anything.
맞아요. 지금 general anesthetic라는 표현도 써주셨는데 그게 이제 일반적인 전신 마취가 되겠죠. 그 전신 마취와 국소 마취 할 때도 이게 작은 한 부위라는 의미의 local이 들어간다는 거. 자, 여기서는 localized flooding은 국지성 홍수를 말합니다. 이제 한 지역이니까요. diverting은 뭐죠?
To divert someone or something is to send them in a different direction, to
Yeah.
send them somewhere else because of a diversion. You'll
Right.
often see road diversions with a sign saying, go this way instead of this way, meaning the sign is diverting you. It's telling you to go elsewhere. We use it a lot for planes.
Yep.
If there's an issue with a plane, they may be diverted to the nearest airport, meaning they're told, land here instead of your destination.
네, 방향을 바꾸게 한다는 뜻이 있으니까 비행기 같은 경우 회항을 하게 한다든지 그럴 때 divert a flight라고 얘기할 수 있겠죠. 이 헤드라인에서는 하나 이상이기 때문에 복수로 썼습니다. 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. About 6 months' worth of rain has swept across the UAE, causing localized flooding and hail in parts of the country, leading to cancelled events, diverted flights, and closed wadis and beaches. Well, that's it for the headlines.